The best teammates don't need the spotlight. Welcome once again to JV Matters, where we talk nothing but football, high school football at that, and what it takes to be a coach at that level as well as a player. And just remember, tomorrow I will be having a Father's Day special, so you don't want to miss that. But right now, we will be finishing up on the player's role. So as we wrap up Chapter 9, Know Your Role, I want to talk about a group of players that rarely get enough credit. The player, the players who don't need the spotlight. Each coach knows who they are. They're not always the captains. They're not always the starters. They're not always the most talented athletes on the field, but they're often the glue that holds the teams together because they're always setting the example. These are the players who show up every day ready to work. They don't complain. They don't make excuses. They don't create drama. They just simply do what they need to do. They do what the team needs them to do. I have one player, I wish he weighed another 100 pounds. He never complains. He just shows up and does what he needs to do. He's just one of those players. One of those players you just hope he gains another 100 or 200 pounds before his senior year. And here's what's the interesting thing. Most fans never notice those players. Parents may overlook them. The media doesn't talk to them. But coaches notice them, teammates notice them, because teams cannot function without them. They may spend 3 years on the practice squad. And then in their senior year, things have changed for them. Every football season has adversity. Every season has challenges. Every season has injuries, setbacks, frustration, disappointments. And boy, let me tell you, we've gone through ours since I've been coaching, both as an assistant coach at the JV level as well as a head JV coach. You juggle players like the master juggler does at a carnival. Some seasons you go through an entire season with a different offensive line every game. When those moments arrive, the players who only care about themselves often disappear. But the players who care about the team become even more valuable. Those are the players that stand up and say, Coach, where do you need me to play? They'll do anything for the team. I've coached enough years to know that talent alone doesn't hold teams together. Character does. Selflessness does. Commitment does. The best teams, or the best teammates, I should say, understand something many young athletes struggle to learn. It's not always about you. It's about the team. Once teams understand that, then the sky is the limit. The problem is that you have to make sure you reinforce this every year. Because every year, every season, you have a new set of teammates coming through. However, the culture can help drive this. So you have the right culture at the beginning of the season, or I should say, if you build that culture in your freshman year, you shouldn't have to worry too much about this problem. That's not a popular message in today's world. We live in a culture that celebrates individual achievement, individual recognition, individual success. And while there's nothing wrong with that or being proud of your accomplishment, football teaches a different lesson. Football teaches that team comes first. College scouts look for those team players as well. Oh yeah, they want you to have good grades, but that's also going to come with good teamwork. One of the most respected players I've ever coached wasn't the biggest star on the roster. He wasn't the fastest. He wasn't the strongest, and he wasn't the most naturally gifted athlete, but he was dependable. Every single day, when coaches needed something done, he did it. When teammates needed encouragement, he gave it. And he didn't give it by calling them names or something like that. He gave them, good boy, good job. You'll get it next time, whatever the case may be. When adversity hit, he stayed ready. When the team needed a teammate, he was there. Let me say that again. When the team needed a teammate, he was there. That's leadership. Not the loud kid, not the one in the late room that's not the one in the weight room that's yelling, "Hey, be quiet, or yelling all the time. He was the consistent kind, the kind that earns respect over time. One thing I've learned over the years is that every player wants to be important. Who doesn't? Even adults want to be important. That's normal. That's natural. But truly important players don't spend their time trying to improve or trying to prove they're important. They spend their time helping the team. And because of that, people naturally recognize their value. The player who makes the greatest impact often are not chasing attention. They're chasing excellence. They're chasing improvement. They're chasing opportunities to serve the team. Those are the players coaches trust the most. Those are the players teammates trust. Those are the players teammates follow. Those are the players who leave a lasting impact on the program. Those are the players who build the culture for the program, for the next group of players to follow, to emulate. As a JV coach, I've watched many players, come through our program year after year. And years later, I don't always remember the statistics. I don't always remember every score. I don't always remember every win or loss. But what I do remember is the teammates, the players who put the team first, the players who embrace their role. Every player on the team has a role. And every role is just as important as the next guy's. The player who embraces their role, the player who cared about something bigger than themselves, because those players represent what football is supposed to teach: responsibility, sacrifice, commitment, and leadership. Because you're going to use all those when you get out of high school, when you hit the real world. Because not everybody on this football team or on any football team is going to make it to the pros or even make it to college. And that's a sad fact of reality. And when those lessons are learned, they carry those far beyond football field. They carry them to family, career, friendship, and communities. That's why know your role is such an important chapter. Because understanding your role isn't about limiting yourself. It's about maximizing your contribution. It's about understanding that every role matters. And it's about realizing that the strongest teams are built by people willing to put the team ahead of themselves. So in closing today, as we close chapter 9, I want you to remember this. Best teammates don't need the spotlight to make an impact. They don't need constant recognition. They don't need attention. They just need to simply show up and do their job and make the people around them better. MJ of the basketball team, that's all he did. When he stepped on the court, he made everybody around him better. That was his goal. If he made them better around him, then that made him better. And at the end, those are often the players who embrace or remember the longest. So know your role, embrace your role, master your role. That's how great teammates become great leaders. So thank you for tuning in. If you found value in this series, please like, subscribe, turn on notifications, and share it with friends. Tune in tomorrow on JV Matters when we start a new chapter on loyalty, what it means, and what it doesn't. I also have, like I mentioned earlier, a Father's Day special tomorrow. You won't want to miss. Talks about how it began, when it began, and how long it's been going. And it talks about all those dads, and it's a tribute to dads and those who have stepped in the role of the dad. So God bless America, and thank you again for watching. See you all in the next video on JV Matters. You all have an outstanding